And we're live.
Right, we're live. Hello, Mr. Tyler. How are you?
Yeah. Very, very good, Mr. Demi. Very good. How are you?
Fantastic. I like how formal we are.
Yeah. you're gonna
Obviously, when we're live in front of other people, when we're talking to each other, it's just abuse.
we gotta be on our best behaviour.
Exactly.
You gotta excuse me today because I'm not the most techie of people when it comes to streaming on social media. So I'm gonna leave it to you.
Yeah, we'll do our best. I'm not the most techie either, so this should be fun.
That's just your old age. You've got an excuse for it, though, Andy.
That is, I call it experience, mate, not old age.
Experience, yeah.
Right, who do we have live? Let's have a little look. So obviously, guys, this is a spur of the moment thing. We decided to go live. We posted it this morning, so I don't expect you all to be here live, but hopefully some of you guys are. There'll be a little StreamYard thing link. If you click on that, then we'll be able to see you. So, for example, Slav has done that, and he's done that on YouTube, and he's also here on Facebook doing a headstand as we speak.
Slav,
very impressive.
Slav is always on top of joining these lives.
Slav is always, yes. You are reminded me he was always number one at this, I must say. So guys, so like for example, this user here, I don't know who you are because you need to click on the StreamYard link and then I'll be able to see you. And then we can say hi personally to you. Today, guys, we're going to be sharing, just talking through some of the questions that have been sent in. And, also just answering any questions that, for any of you guys that are here live, anything we can do to help you to bridge that gap between where you are and where you want to be. Obviously, Dan's been doing this for 2-3 years now. Is it, Dan?
Yeah. It'll be 3 years in March. So I was a trader in the very first start of lockdown. So
yeah. So so obviously Dan's newer to trading, but still 2-3 years is a long time, especially in lockdown where you obviously were doing a lot more than what most people can normally do with their jobs. And that's something else we're going to speak about today, because I know that's one of the most common things that I personally hear. I don't know about you, Dan, but people always feel like they just don't, it's not fair, they don't have enough time, and if they did have enough time, they would they'd be able to make money. But that's not always necessarily true. It's just about but we'll speak about that. But do you kind of, whilst we wait and see who else is going to join us, there's a few actually. Do you want to kind of share a little bit about yourself, Dan, just like your experience and any tips that you would personally be giving new people? Because obviously I'm putting a series together where I'm sharing my own knowledge, but I've like you said rudely about my age, I've been doing this for 20 years, so maybe I'm a little bit out of touch with what it really feels like to really just start. So, I know you've helped a lot of people whilst you've been with us. So is there anything that you kind of want to share with people?
Yeah, absolutely. So for those that don't know, I'm Dan. So I've been working with you, Andy. I actually started off as a student of yours, 2.5 years ago now. I started off as a complete beginner, like you said, relatively new to trading. And I think the only thing I owned when I first started trading was a Japanese candlestick book. Yeah, that's the one. I paid like 60 quid for it online and had no idea what any of it meant. So I thought, you know what, I'd stumble into the education side of things and just kind of tumbled from there, really. I within 3 months of starting, I ended up seeing 8% growth in my account as from a complete beginner to 90 days, really. And then since then, I've gone a lot more into the coaching side, spending a lot more time with yourself as well, Andy. So you got the pleasure of speaking to me nearly every single day. So yeah, a lot of what I do now is focused around helping people, coaching them, and I think I can empathise with a lot of people as well, because I know kind of what
just if I interrupt, what was the key, do you think, that made you get that kind of result and then continue with it, which is most important?
Consistency. I mean, like the most important thing is that you need to learn how to actually develop the skill around your current lifestyle. And I say it to a lot of people that are just starting. Like, trading is kind of like losing weight, in my opinion. Like, when you find that fad diet, you can go for 2 weeks on a really intensive diet, and it completely takes you out of reality, and you're eating stuff that just isn't sustainable for you. But at the end of your 2 weeks, you'll lose a stone, and it feels fantastic. You feel absolutely amazing. But when you return back to normal life and you go back to your job, you go back to cooking dinners, you're taking the kids to school, whatever, right? You end up putting all that weight back on again, plus some more. And trading is really similar to that. If you can learn how to actually develop the skill around your lifestyle already, then it kind of builds a platform for you to be sustainable for you in the future as well. Like, it's not going to happen overnight. And anybody that believes that, I think, kind of needs a bit of a reality check. But if you learn how to actually fit your learning around your lifestyle, that is really what helped me in the first place anyway.
I mean, Rick, in the grand scheme of things, I mean, you've got to say that you've done it very quickly. So I know that you're saying it's not going to happen overnight, but it kind of almost did for you. And I know it's not necessarily normal, or I guess not normal, but it's not necessarily average. But obviously it did for you. So I almost feel like, personally, I think it's like, before you kind of start getting educated, it's almost like who you were before and the skill sets that you've maybe had. So if you're already somebody who has a routine, who's good at getting up on time and turning up to appointments on time and things like that already, naturally, you'll probably seamlessly move into trading, because those are kind of some of the core skills that I think are really important. And I'd say I was definitely one of those people that it's funny, because culturally, Greek people are late for things, right? And maybe if I'm going somewhere where it doesn't really matter what time you turn up, I may be late. But when it comes to anything important, I'm always on time, always early, always on time, or I will get something done when I'm supposed to get it done, because I have a value system. That was natural to me. That was like, well, this is important, so it has to be done. Somebody's relying on me to get it done. And so when I came into trading, I already had that skill set. So it was easier for me. That if you're somebody who's like not that way, it might take a little bit longer to build that routine. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, I was definitely not one to wake up early, but I always had the philosophy of, if you turn up to something early, that's on time. And if you turn up on time, that's late. So, yeah, I mean, developing a routine and making sure you're consistent in what you're doing in everyday life is so much more important than what you initially realize. And you realize that as soon as you kind of take yourself out of that routine, you then kind of see the knock-on effects of it for maybe a couple of days in your trading. So yeah, it can take a while to kind of ingrain certain principles, certain consistent tasks into your daily routine. But I think you actually gave me the stat and the advice in the first place. It takes about 21 days of you doing consistently the same thing for it to kind of ingrain into your day-to-day life. And when you look at it like that, like just 21 days is nothing compared to your lifetime. Like if you can just do the same thing for 21 days straight, you're already building yourself a platform for being consistent in your everyday life. And
I agree. But here's the thing: why don't people do it? That's the if it's that easy. And I think I know the answer why. But what do you think?
I mean, for me, I did struggle with it when I first started. I'm not going to tell anything otherwise. For me, I think you just get very, very caught up in everyday life, and I always kind of lent on the excuse of I don't have time. Well, when I actually looked at what my routine was like and what I was doing day in, day out, it was about making the time, not about the time I had already. It was actually about saying, okay, what can I potentially sacrifice in order to fit in half an hour to an hour's worth of trading every single day? And I think a lot of people subconsciously kind of lean on, I don't have time, and end up not doing it. They kind of have that, oh, I'll do it tomorrow or I'll do it at the weekend mentality, when the thing that actually makes them propel forward and make that change is like, well, if you want to do it now, make the time, wake up half hour, an hour earlier, or instead of you watching an episode on Netflix at 8:00 in the evening, maybe just turn your laptop on for half an hour and watch the Netflix show at the weekend. Something like that. That's the main one for me. I don't know what your thoughts are on it.
I agree. I think the biggest reason why is often because people probably don't believe that it's going to make a difference. I think that's an important one. I think belief. I think the second one is accountability. I think when you don't have somebody checking in on you, I think you almost feel like, well, I'm tired, I've had a hard day, I deserve to just chill out. And there's nothing kind of wrong with that. I get it, completely get it, because every day I feel like that. But I think when you kind of equate what you really want and doing this process, this small sacrifice, I think when you kind of combine those two and that's what's present for you, I think you're much more likely to follow through. And then if you add some accountability, whether it's working with a mentor or partnering up with another trader, where you keep each other accountable. So I know for myself, when I got started, that was one of the things that I did. I didn't have a lot of money to go and pay for a mentor at that time. So I just buddied up with somebody who was on the same path. Now, obviously, it's not as good as having a mentor, but that was a good start. And that was a good place to start, where you keep each other accountable. And I find like, I think there's, maybe there's a lot of people that are not kind of doing that because of those reasons, I think. But it'd be good to hear from you guys. Let's say hello to everybody. Guys, I was just saying at the beginning, if you kind of make yourselves, if you click on there's a StreamYard link, right, Dan? And they click on that, and then we'll be able to see you. So instead of it saying Facebook user, we'll be actually able to see who you are, like Mr. Fred Martin has done. Thank you, Fred. Hi. Good to have you here. Nice bike. Facebook user, not sure who you are.
But hello anyway.
Hello anyway, exactly.
No, I can see.
Discriminate here, unlike not mentioning any countries.
I'm having a look in the Facebook group. I can see that we've got Roy, we've got Besmir, we've got Tim as well, Jonathan.
Hi, Roy.
So welcome all you guys. Thanks for coming.
Roy's experienced. He knows what he's doing on this.
He does. He's been again a party on these lives for a very long time already.
There's Jonathan. Good to have you here, man.
Awesome.
So what I know that some people posted some questions.
Yeah.
Particularly, do you have any there, Dan?
Yeah. So I think a key thing that people need to work on is figuring out like their weaknesses and the strengths, like you posted the other day. And we had someone type in and send in that their weakness was when them taking a loss in their trading and then moving their stop loss every single time they're taking a trade. Now, me personally, when I first started, I was always taught from the get-go, do not do that. Like that is kind of trading 101. You just don't do it. But it will be really great, Andy, if you could maybe dive into the issues of moving your stop loss when you are trading, and maybe kind of the psychological impacts that has on you as well.
Yeah, it's a very, and I really appreciate the honesty as well. I bet most people can relate to doing that. Dan, you're the exception. But I will put my hands up and I will say that I've done that before, and and here's the thing. Here's the biggest issue with it is that when you take a trade, if you have taken a trade and you have a certain amount that you're willing to risk on that trade, and let's say whatever it might be, £100, right? And so that's really all you're comfortable with risking. So you don't really want to lose £100 on this trade. So when there's no emotion, you're like, you know what, I can lose £100 on this trade when you take the trade. And then the trade becomes in motion and it's going towards your stop, and you don't want to be wrong, maybe. So I guess maybe one of the things that I'd recommend is start thinking about what is it that you're doing in that moment. Why are you doing it? Is it because you don't want to be wrong? Is it because, you're making excuses as to why you can move your stop? Just start to observe what you're actually doing. But for most people, they don't want to be wrong, right? They want to be right. And so you move it and you move it and you move it. And let's say there's two things that can happen, right? So two things that can happen. One, it doesn't stop you out because you've moved it and it goes and hits your target. And two, it stops you out, but you've taken a much bigger loss than you should have done, right? So those are the two things that can happen. Both are really bad, by the way, even taking the profit, because we're wired subconsciously, right? We're programmed to do certain actions. We do things naturally. The best example, we've shared it before, is driving a car. Now, I don't know about you, but I hardly need to even think about driving my car. Like I don't think I think much. I just know where my car is. I turn it on and I go. Like there's no thought to it. It's just all programmed in, right? I know how to drive it perfectly. So it's the same with trading. Your habits, you just learn them perfectly. So it's like stops there, but actually your programming is, I don't really believe you that your stop is really there. And as we get close, we're just going to move it naturally. And so that kind of, imagine if you do that once and you get away with it, and if you could just stop there, great. But what you're doing is you're building that habit up, and that becomes who you are as a trader. And basically, you're going to lose loads of money. You're going to lose and lose and lose. And then you're going to say to yourself things like beliefs like trading doesn't work for me, trading is a scam, or trading is hard, or trading is impossible, only 5%. So what your brain does is starts to find the reasons why you're not going to succeed, because you're not succeeding. And it's just a spiraling effect. And you've now set yourself up into a place where it's almost impossible for you to succeed unless you undo these bad habits. So that's the biggest psychological issue. So it's like either win or lose, you're going to lose. And when you realize that, you will stop doing it, because you really are going to lose. The next one you might win, but actually overall you will be a losing trader. And I think I've seen it with people, like even just when they know this stuff, even to do nothing with stops, they go and take a trade because they just want to get into the market, and there's no real proper reasons for it, but they still just want to get into the market because they think they don't want to miss the trade. They're sure it's going to go up, or they're sure it's going to go down, or somebody said it's going to do that. You just jump in, and that trade may win, but you are a losing trader. I promise you, you're going to be a losing trader. Like if that's how you're taking your trades, the next one might win and you might be like, oh, great, I've won some money. But it's like just gambling. You've won some money, but overall you don't have an edge, and the game will take your money. So if you really get that internally, you'll stop doing it.
Absolutely. And so just to add on quickly to what you said as well, Andy, one of the best bits of advice that I've ever heard, and I think I got it from
let's say it was from me. No, let's say it was from me.
Yeah, we'll say it's from you. Either that or trading.
The best advice you've ever had. Definitely.
I think that the best bit of advice regarding that is trading isn't about focusing on the reward. I mean, don't get me wrong. We all go into trading because we want more flexibility. We want more of a lifestyle. We want to spend more time with the family. We want more money, right? Trading in the zone, right? And the thing is that if you focus on that reward, you end up getting emotionally attached to it. Whereas what a true professional trader and a consistent trader can do and should do is actually focus on the losses and focus on managing those losses, shall we say. So instead of you going into a trade and saying, oh, I'm going to win £500 on this trade within the next 2 hours, actually ask yourself the question, am I comfortable in losing £500 on this trade? Because if the answer to that question is no, I'm not comfortable, don't take the trade, because it's clearly not a good decision. You're emotionally attached and you're making a decision just simply based off of pure emotion. So it's something just to add on, like, don't focus on the reward, guys. Always try and actually think, okay, what can I lose from this? And am I comfortable in that loss? If you are comfortable in that loss, it's very easy to then move on to the next trade and not move your stop losses anymore, because you become a lot more trusting in what you're doing. Do you see where I'm coming from, Andy?
Yeah, no, definitely. And, to add to that, maybe consider reducing your risk if you're not comfortable with losing that amount. Because what happens is, if you really aren't thinking you're going to lose that money, and you're not actually really accepting of losing that money or willing to lose it, you're going to do some of those cardinal sins of moving your stop. Or as the market as you get towards your £500 loss, that's way too much than what you actually wanted to lose. And so you are going to do something, like whether it's moving your stop or something that you shouldn't be doing. Or revenge trading or whatever. So maybe even you know what, I'm disciplined, I'm taking my stop, and then you just go in and just go crazy in the market. So it starts from that. I agree with you. I think it starts from making sure that you accept what you're risking, and if you don't accept it, either don't take the trade, like Dan said, or if you do take the trade, I would just cut the risk back. I always ask myself that question, like, am I happy to lose on this particular trade this amount of money? And if I'm not, I genuinely just half it or third it, and I'll be like, you know what, that's cool with me. I don't need to take a big trade on this one, because within a structure though, because this is a completely different topic, but you've got to still make sure that your numbers add up. Like if you're, I don't want to get into that topic, but basically, we'll discuss it tomorrow.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, let's move on to the next question. So we've got Jonathan.
Yeah, we'll do a couple more minutes and we'll wrap up, but we'll jump on again tomorrow, guys. So if we don't get to all of your questions, we'll
definitely
jump on. Just before you get to, go ahead.
I was about to say, so Jonathan's typed in, what time frame is your favorite for day trading?
Good question. I don't scout the markets. I intraday trade them, so I will generally speaking, the lowest time frame that I will go down to is a 15-minute time frame, but the majority of my time is spent on the hourly and the 4-hour. But I will go down to the 15, just to give me that little bit of extra, especially if I'm going for a really great particular entry where I'm looking to be very, very precise with my entry. I will go down to a 15-minute.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of the most common questions that I get from new students and people who are looking to go into trading, like, oh, what time frame shall we use? and it's pretty universal. I mean, if you're working, you've got a busy lifestyle, and you already feel like you don't have too much time to trade, I would recommend probably staying away from the lower time frames anyway, mainly because when you go down into lower time frames, they can move so quickly. You have to be so good and precise at what you're doing. The majority of people end up losing money. And although like the facade of being able to make 500 quid in a matter of minutes is fantastic, you have to put
the reality of losing 500 quid in a matter of minutes.
Exactly. And I guess like you can go about trading that way if that suits your personality, and more importantly, it suits your lifestyle. But if you are looking to go into trading for more flexibility, to spend more time with your family or whatever it may be, it's just not going to be sustainable for you. So sticking to the likes of the 1 hour charts, the 4 hour charts, they're just a lot better if you want to be able to have a little bit more of a passive trading income. And as traders, we do look at all time frames above. So we're always looking at higher time frames just to get an idea as to long-term direction. And that helps us with our decision making as we're taking our trades as well. So hopefully that answers your question, Jonathan. I saw that you've put in thank you, which is...
Should we do one more question?
Yeah, go for it.
Right.
Did you want to pick one, or did you want me to pick one out from people?
No, go on, you pick one. Guys, by the way, just before I answer the question as well, we're going to be we're looking to be live for the rest of the week, and in particular on Thursday at 8 p.m. we're going to be running an FX presentation. So we'll put the link. I highly recommend that you join that. I'm going to be sharing a lot of golden nuggets on that training. So we don't often do it, but it's going to be a proper live event, 8 p.m. this Thursday. So just Dan will put the link in, and then you just register if you haven't registered already.
Yeah, I'll pop the link into the comments for you as well, guys.
And tomorrow we'll pop in again tomorrow, guys, and we'll post it in the morning time, and we'll answer some more questions. Hopefully a few people watch the recording of this.
Yeah, fantastic. So
let's do one more question. Give me a question, Dan.
So this one is my favorite. My weakness is not having lots of screen time. So what are your thoughts on that? Do you class that as a weakness?
I actually think sometimes it's a strength. Like funnily enough, like I think I've mentioned this before, when I first got into trading, I actually, similar to you, I got off to a really good start, and I in my first 12 months I was doing really, really well. I was averaging about 10% a month, which was the target. And so I thought to myself, well, imagine what I could do if I was not working. Imagine if I could do this full time, how much I would make, very naively. And what I found was when I went full time, I was terrible. Like I started losing money. So it wasn't an easy transition. Why? Because emotions, like when you're watching the price all day long and you feel like you have to trade because it's all you're doing, you haven't got any other job, it became much harder for me to actually do what I needed to do, because otherwise, like, what was the point of being at home, right? So that transition was tricky. So making time to trade, anybody in any circumstances I know can make the time. Like once you know what you're looking for, like honestly, in fact, what I'm going to share with you on Thursday, I'm going to show you how you can find trades in literally minutes, a few minutes, 5 minutes. You can let's not exaggerate, 15 minutes from start to finish, we can identify a trading opportunity. And it's not difficult and anybody can do it. So time is just a lack of education. It's like you don't know what you're looking for, right? It's like if you needed to drive your car from scratch, and you have to read a manual, well, that's going to take ages, right? Like how do you drive? How do you reverse? How do you steer? well, that's going to take forever. But if you know how to drive it, it's like boom, 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 you're out, done. And that's literally all it is. So you need to master the system, master your strategy, master everything, and then you'll be able to trade without really dedicating a lot of time.
Awesome. Yeah, that's basically kind of my thoughts on it as well. In that, I guess it's time to do a little bit of myth busting. In that, everywhere on social media, it will tell you loads of different things, like, oh, you can make money in 5 minutes, or you need to spend, 9 hours in front of your screen in order to make money. But I guess the best way of putting it is that there's no kind of holy grail blueprint as to kind of how to make money in the markets and what you need to follow in order to achieve X, Y, or Z. It's really down to what your goals are and what your lifestyle is. If you want to be trading for 9 hours a day, like have at it. If that's what you're so passionate about and you're making money from it, great. But we've had students that have joined us in the past, and we've had some detailed conversations with them in that they've gone into trading when they've wanted to have that extra flexibility, and they've actually kind of gone into trading and done the exact opposite, and they're feeling horrendous about it, that they actually got into trading to stop putting in 12-hour shifts, and now they're putting in 13, 14, 15-hour shifts and losing money. And
they don't need to. That's the thing. And it's like, you can, like you said, but it's not something that you have to do. No. Like I said, most people would make more money spending less time in the markets. The thing that they need to learn is how to, once you've studied enough and you understand markets and you understand yourself and you understand what you're looking for, then it's really quick to find trades. So it's obviously the initial bit. I'm not going to lie, you have to study, you have to learn. But once you've done that, then it should be really seamless and quick. And if it's not, it means you're not there yet. If you're struggling to find trades or you're not sure if the trade is right, you're not there yet. So anyway, I think we better wrap up. Otherwise, my kids will be busting in here in a minute. But we will, guys. If you've enjoyed today, let us know in the comments, because we can do a lot more of these. In the daytime, whenever we've got some time, we'll just jump on live and interact with you guys and answer your question. Hopefully, give you some more help. So we'll post in the morning. We'll find some time tomorrow, Dan, right? And we'll try and jump on it again for another 20-25 minutes tomorrow.
Yeah. Any questions that we've missed today, we'll want to jump on, and we want to make sure that we're answering all of your questions and kind of giving you the best kind of answers possible. And I guess the best way of really getting value out of this sort of stuff and really getting your questions answered in detail is just taking the time and putting it in your calendar to go ahead and join onto our webinar on Thursday evening. Like Andy said, we're wanting to really go into detail as to really how you can optimize your time and what you need to do in order to find high probability trades every single day. So I have popped the link in the comments.
Awesome.
If you need me to do it again, guys, I'm absolutely more than happy to. But if you just click in, just make sure you register. It will automatically send something to you. You can add it into your calendar just in case you don't forget. So yeah, feel free to register and we'll go through a lot of that stuff in detail. It will really, really help you out with your trading. Don't know if you've got any final thoughts, Andy, but
no, guys, anything we haven't answered, we'll make sure we answer it tomorrow. So join us again tomorrow, guys. Look out for a post in the morning. We'll let you know what time we're going live. And even if you can't join, you can watch it back in the group. So we're on YouTube. We're in the Crypto and FX Traders Club, and also you can hear us on the London Trading Institute page as well. So one of those. So thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you. Great to see you guys. See you later.
See you later.